no longer becomes about selling time. It becomes about selling outcomes. We don't say you're going to get 3 hours a week with a coach. You're also going to get 15 minutes of this. We don't actually have to tell them how much time. You can say something like, we're going to be meeting twice a week. You'll have ongoing accountability once a week, but we don't have to tell them how long they're going to be with us. As long as you can provide the outcome that they're looking for, aka the 30 pounds down, inflammation free, low back pain free, then the time they're taking with you actually doesn't matter. This is where you go from selling time to now we sell an outcome. What's going on, everybody? Andrew Costa here from Coach to Coach Systems. I'm the guy who runs C2C. And in this episode, I want to talk about how you can build a transformation program that sells itself, because all of your programs should sell themselves, and how you can transition away from, of course, selling just your individual time. And by individual time, it's okay to do one-on-one services. What I'm referring to is pricing, packaging, and positioning, trading your hours versus trading and selling a transformation process. I think a lot of times when I'm looking at the practitioners and health coaches we're working with, whether you are a naturopath, whether you're a physiotherapist, whether you own a training facility, like I just recently signed on a client, 30,000 square feet. They've got over 850 members at their training facility. There are still a lot of people who are trading their one-on-one time. All they're doing is creating their sessions or their billables as sign up for 15 sessions, sign up for twice a week at $80 a session, or hey, work with me as a naturopath for maybe 110 an hour, and we're going to see you 4 times over the span of 6 weeks. This process, the aspect of positioning basically an hourly billable and saying, hey, look, like, why don't you just pay this for an hour? It's really easy for people to be able to compare services. It's tough for you to resell because you're almost selling 3, 4, 5 times through their journey, when effectively you could package this into a proper transformation process, get people fired up about the transformation journey, and transition them away from comparing like a one-on-one session price or individual session price into something that they can't compare it to, which is the end goal, the journey, and the transformation. Because what I'm finding is when I'm looking at a lot of the clients that we're working with, they're capped because they have a lot of time that they have to spend on sales. They have a lot of time spent trying to retain the client by selling over and over again. And then also, they're not properly positioning the process where they're getting a lot of objections on price. They're like, holy cow, it's $110 an hour. Or do you have something at 60 to 70 bucks an hour? And a lot of the times, especially if you are a seasoned health pro, your price points are going to be higher than other people. You're not going to be charging $65 a session or 80 bucks a session. You're going to be like most of our professionals, where they're anywhere from 110 to, we have a practitioner who's charging 550 an hour. Now, we don't price it as an hourly, we price it as a transformation process, but we have to get into a place where we can get your people, your clients, and your leads accustomed to buying into the journey, not buying into the amount of hours that they're working with you. Because there will get to a point where those hours will change. Maybe your check-ins are going to go from an hour check-in to 30-minute check-in. Well, those people that are paying a certain price point, they're then going to complain about losing 30 minutes. Or maybe you get into a point where your sessions, like for your workouts, go from an hour to 45 minutes so you can get more blocks of clients in. Well, someone who's now paid for that specific hour time and they know how much they're paying per hour, they're going to say to themselves, well, is my cost going to reduce because now you're spending less time with me? It is not about the time. It's not about how long they're spending with you. Really, it's about the transformation, and it's about the support that they're getting. If you can show someone that they can spend 15 minutes with you twice a week, but they're still going to get the same result in a faster time, they're going to trade that over spending an hour with you, because guess what? They value their time too. But the key is for you to be able to position it that way. So a lot of the practitioners that I come across, whenever we're working with them, it's like, hey, I'm finding a couple of things. I'm getting a lot of objections on price, where people are saying I'm too expensive, or they're comparing me to cheaper people. but my experience is more. I have more educations and certifications than the other ones. They don't have the same type of facility or equipment or process that I do. And so I'm offering more, but they're comparing me to someone who is giving them less. And the way that we get rid of that and we stop the comparison and stop the price objections and stop people complaining about the amount of time that they're not getting with you is to transition into a transformation program. And it doesn't matter what industry you are in, every single health practitioner can position themselves as a transformation process. We have chiropractors that commit people to 16 to 20-week programs. We have nutritionists and personal trainers who, again, create a transformation process where they can commit someone 4 to 6 months. We even have osteopaths that have 8-week protocols that people go through. Every single one of you can position it into a transformation program. That being said, you do have to know, of course, like what goes into transitioning from session based, where everything is relying solely on exactly your one-on-one time, to then going into like, hey, here's what's actually involved in your transformation process. So when we look to turn your expertise into a transformation, we really look at what are all of the things that we can provide that we can put inside your transformation process. I think most practitioners will have a lot of billable hours or a lot of add-ons where it's like, if you want training, it's this price. If you want nutrition, that's an add-on. If you want accountability, we're going to add that on as well too, because what you're doing is you're conditioned to keep your price as small as possible. So that way someone will buy into something and then you're like, hopefully they will buy in all of these add-on services. But that's where, again, they're going to start to have the comparison, or they're going to get to start being really nitpicky about certain things. I think when you look towards talking to your highest level client, so like when I'm working with my highest level client is going to be someone who goes all in through the entire process. They don't want to handpick certain pieces. They recognize, they're like, look, I don't know exactly what I need for my business. I know that you're going to help me with everything, and I probably do need help with everything at some point. The issue that I'm seeing in front of my business might be sales, but like once I figure out sales, nurture is going to be an issue. Once I figure out nurture, then it's going to be retention. Once I figure out retention, then it's probably going to be ads, which is why we've packaged it to help support you with the entire process. So the person who is self-led, highly motivated, driven, and understands that maybe they don't know everything about the whole process, they're going to need access to everything anyways. So why not right out the gate say that the package, the process, the program involves everything? You're going to combine all of the services that an introductory person, an intermediary person, or intermediate person, or an advanced person gets, and you're going to combine them all together. This is about creating a core flagship program where it's like, if I have to ensure that this person is going to get a guaranteed result, what would be all of the things that I would put into it? So, can you include accountability check-ins? Can we include a meal plan or a specific guide to be able to make sure that they've got some non-negotiables or some points so they can see results? How many sessions a week are they getting with you as a coach? Doesn't really matter the time. What matters is what is going to be their consistency and frequency. Do they get access to communication or support with you outside of those sessions? If so, what does that look like? And then it's going to be your course code. What is going to be that thing that they're going to get alongside that so they can learn all of the how-to on their own? Because chances are, if you've answered the same question 2 or 3 times for other people, you could probably film that, put it into a course code, and give everyone access to it. But then there's also the other things too, which add value. Can you create a community for them? Can you create a Slack channel where you can have them get an assistant coach where they're also getting additional support outside of talking with you? These are all things that you can combine to turn that expertise into a transformation process. And a transformation process, here's where some practitioners, when they're transitioning out of sessions, kind of get wrong. There has to be a specific objective for that transformation. So like when we look towards the C2C program, for example, the main purpose of C2C is to get you 10 to 15K in terms of recurring income over and above what you are already making. So it's to increase your recurring revenue month over month. That's through retention, that's through sales process, and that's through client converting content. Those three things are the key pillars that are required for you to increase your recurring revenue by 10 to 15K per month. That's step number one. All of the other things that we do outside of showing you how to fast launch your program, showing you how to run and create really powerful ads, or lead quality, changing up your lead quality so that way you're getting higher quality leads for more higher ticket programs. Those are things that we do in addition once someone has recurring revenue. Because one of the things that we find with a lot of the coaches we work with, whether they're making 50K months like the training facility that we're working with now, or whether they're making K recurring months, a lot of the months aren't consistent. A lot of them are maybe hitting some of their income goals, but maybe the expenses are kind of floating, where they need more cash and they actually need to start making a profit. Why? So they can do more marketing, so they can put more money in their pockets, so they can maybe hire on that specific team member that they were looking for. So to me, I always look at business stability. We create stability by making sure that recurring revenue goes up month over month. If you had an extra $10,000 to $1,000 per month in recurring revenue that's appearing month over month, could you hire the teammate? Could you run the ads? Could you promote the offer? Could you maybe film a couple of videos or pay someone to create content for you? The answer is usually yes to all of those things. So the main objective for the program is that stacking recurring revenue. And then the secondary thing is retention and sales. Because if we can keep the existing clients that we have for longer periods and sell or increase the amount of people we are selling to, so your sales rate goes from 30% close to 50, meaning you're bringing more people in, and your retention goes from maybe 55% of your clients to 75% of your clients, then that means your churn is going to be lower. So you're actually going to be stacking recurring payments month over month instead of replacing the clients that you're losing all the time. So that to say, like, the expertise is about putting together a transformation process that solves a specific purpose. Every single one of your clients has a goal that's very specific. If you're a trainer, usually it's weight loss. We get specific, how much weight in how much time. Maybe a secondary thing might be inflammation or might be to help with knee pain. We have to factor in a specific transformation when we're combining all of these pieces for our expertise, because when a client is going to be in front of you and they're like, okay, if I'm buying into this transformation program, they're going to say, well, if I'm going to be doing all of this, the nutrition, the training, the accountability check-ins, watching these modules, maybe being a part of a group, they're going to say to themselves, all of this is going to be for what objective? Like, what am I actually going to get at the end of this process? We don't have to explain that when we're buying an individual service, because we're getting an individual thing. Like if you sell, 15 adjustments, the purpose, you're going to go and you're going to get an adjustment. If you're selling nutrition at 20 sessions of nutrition, you're going and you're getting nutrition support. But a transformation process is no longer selling those individual things. You have to sell an end. And the end result is like, you're going to be 30 pounds down, you're going to be low back pain free, and you're going to have no more gut inflammation. This will also affect what services you combine together, because not every transformation program or transformation process has to have every service combined. So as an example, like if we're working with a chiropractor and the majority of their clients have low back pain, we can combine the accountability with some of the modules. The modules might have a few trainings that help reduce low back pain or teach them how to be able to do proper strength training or proper form. And then we can combine that with their adjustments to see results. Do they necessarily need nutrition support while doing low back pain if you've got a nutritionist on hand? No. So we want to package all of the things that people are going to find valuable. And then you're also going to package the things that people are going to need. Additional accountability, communication outside of your sessions, and a community is always going to be beneficial to everyone, because these are the things that help with what I would call the other 23 hours in the day. If you're going to see someone for an hour, that's just one small bit of their life that they're keeping on track. Health or living a healthy lifestyle is about the other 23 hours in the day. So you want to make sure that you're building a process that's going to support them for the other 23. Once you've package this process, it no longer becomes about selling time. It becomes about selling outcomes. We don't say you're going to get 3 hours a week with a coach, 2 personal check-ins. You're also going to get 15 minutes of this. We don't actually have to tell them how much time. You can say something like, we're going to be meeting twice a week. You'll have ongoing accountability once a week, and that's fine. But we don't have to tell them how long they're going to be with us, because in reality, it doesn't affect the outcome. As long as you can provide the outcome that they're looking for, aka the 30 pounds down, inflammation free, low back pain free, then the time they're taking with you actually doesn't matter as long as you've created the time that's enough for the program. This is where you go from selling time to now we sell an outcome. Selling an outcome is selling the feeling, the experience, and the emotion behind what their goals and their dreams are. No one cares about losing 30 pounds. People care about fitting into the outfit that they haven't been able to fit in for the past 5 years. Nobody cares necessarily about improving joint mobility or range of motion. That's coach speaking. They care about being able to walk up and down the stairs or being able to pick up their grandkids without having any pain, or being able to go for a run with their grandkid without being worried that the next day they're not going to be able to walk. That's where, when we start positioning this process, we can start saying, hey, listen, you're going to be meeting with us for the next 4 months. Twice a week, you'll get this personal coach. You're also going to get accountability and support for whenever you have challenges with your lifestyle, or maybe you've got issues at home with food, or you're not sure to prep. We'll support you the other 23 hours during the day. So that way you can be the 30 pounds down. You can start to have more energy. You no longer have brain fog. You're no longer checked out at work. This will allow you to be more present with your family, so then you can actually live the lifestyle that you want. We are selling the outcome. Selling the outcome, now people don't have the price to be able to compare it to. If you look towards someone's goal or someone's dream, if the dream and the goal is something that's super important to them, there's no way that they're going to be able to compare price. And that's the entire goal of creating a transformation process. Is we stop telling people it's $110 a session, it's $65 a session, you're getting $75 for 15 minutes with a chiro. We transition away from that, and now we say, listen, it's $550 to $1,200 a month, depending on what option works best for you. If you want, we're going to start with the 4 months here at $885 a month. You're going to see us twice a week, and this is the process. And that's exactly what we did with the new training facility that we just brought on. The kind of comments that they had, well, they had kind of several things. They're like, we're finding that people have that huge price objection. We're also finding that we're reselling all the time because we're selling 15 sessions or 20 sessions at a time. Think about it this way. If you are selling 15 sessions, that's like 15 hours with you. Their life's not really going to change in 15 hours. Most people don't. And it's the same thing with adjustments. If you sell 10 adjustments or come in 3 times, that's 3 hours. What's the likelihood that they're going to change? Probably not likely. So this is where now we're transitioning into a monthly process. We actually get to commit them to the length of time for their journey that's actually going to make them succeed. This is where now you can increase the length of time to 4 months, 6 months, 12 months. Now, the majority of the clients that we work with, they have programs anywhere from 4 months long to 12 months long as their introductory program. This actually makes it really easy for you to sell, because phase 1 is we hit the initial goal, which could be a 4-month or 6-month process. And then phase 2 is like, now that we hit the goal, we're going to teach you the maintenance, or we're going to set a new goal with you that might be another 6-month or 8-month process. This allows you to only have like 1 to 2 sales cycles, instead of doing something like you're having to sell them over and over again. This also makes it really easy for your team or for your coaches or for you, because it's no longer like, now I got to book another sales consult. It's really just like having an organic conversation. And that's exactly what it should be. You have to have an organic conversation afterwards to just be like, hey, let's continue this process. So it's all about leaning towards something that I call the prescriptive sale. The prescriptive method of sales is not selling hours, selling billable services, selling packages. It's more about we have a conversation, and based on what you need, I'm going to prescribe you what's going to get you there. You're telling me you've got a weight issue? Cool. Based on your goals and what you're looking to achieve, I'm recommending 4 months. We're going to write the prescription. You show up twice a week. Let's get you started. Handshake. So, just like a doctor prescribing to a patient, you're going to prescribe this process. And when you do that, there's no confusion as to what option they're going to choose. You're the professional. You're dictating what the option is. It's priced together. So they're getting all of the solutions that are actually going to help them at the beginning and at the end. And it's not going to be something that they can compare the price to and say, hey, I'm going to go to the cheaper person, because you no longer have an hourly billable. Now, that being said, when you create this process and you're transitioning from session and hourly based to a transformation program, you now also have to start thinking, what are going to be the emotional outcomes of this versus the functional outcomes? People, when they are buying, every single person has a logical wallet, like a physical, like I'm looking at my bank account and I see this number, this is how much I'm willing to spend. And then they have an emotional wallet, which is like, I really don't care how much this is. I'm going all in because I love it. So, like a great example, which actually just happened recently, I'm looking into buying a kimono because I'm kind of tired of like suit jackets and stuff. I like being really different, and I'm like, man, I really love these kimonos. And a kimono is like a suit jacket, but it's like an Oriental suit jacket that you can dress up or dress down, whether it's with suit pants or jeans. You can kind of wear it with both. Now, when it comes to clothing, I'm not the type of person who really cares about clothing. Like a dress shirt's a dress shirt. I don't need a $200 dress shirt compared to like a $65 one. So I'm not emotionally attached to my clothes. I look at function, I look at fit. I want to make sure that it's something that I like. And when I pick it, I'm all in. Cool. But there's something about being able to pick up like an Oriental piece of clothing, something that reminds me of Japan, that to me has an attachment of memories of when I went on that trip. So when I was looking at buying the kimonos, I was looking at stuff like 225, 265, and I was like, great. I didn't really think about like, well, typically I spend $65 on a shirt, and well, I was thinking of a budget of this. I actually threw my budget out the window because I was like, this thing's blue. It's got blue tigers on it. I think this is fire. I'm going to really stand out in my business networking group. It's going to look comfortable as hell. And it's just super, super fun, even if I wear it maybe 3 to 4 times. So to me, there was the logical wallet, which I normally know what I spend. But then there's the emotional wallet that we can tap into. The best part about a transformation program is we go from tapping into the functional wallet, the physical one that people kind of go in with a budget, like I'm prepared to spend this on a car, to the emotional one, which is like, give me the top down convertible in like lipstick red because I think it's fire. And when we start to position our process like this, we're going to have more sales and we're going to have more committed people because they're not just logically bought in, they're emotionally bought in. I cannot stress enough, especially if you're someone who's doing weight loss, transformation, nutrition, maybe even like digestive issues. The emotional buy-in is so key. There is nothing more satisfying than someone who's, oh man, I'm bloated every day. I feel like I'm struggling all the time. I'm always exhausted. I have tons of fatigue. I'm burnt out, to I would just love to have like just wake up, have so much energy, feel so fulfilled, never have to worry about being bloating free anymore. The emotional buy-in for people during that health process, or, the person who's in a car accident that's had back pain for 15 years, they have a high level of emotional buy-in. But when we're selling by session, we pull the emotion out of it. And it doesn't make any sense because it's emotion that's actually going to get them invested into the long-term part of this process. This is where, when we talk about where they can go, when we can talk about what they can do, when we talk about everything that is possible for them once they've achieved this goal, it actually stops being about the initial process and starts being, what can I do after the process? So as an example, let's say you're charging 4 months for like 5,500 or 6,500. If you're just focused on the logic, someone goes, wow, I'm going to spend about $1,200 a month on just like going through this process for 4 months, and then what? Versus the emotional process is going to be like, I'm going to invest $6,500 in me, but this is going to be a lifelong change. So if I extrapolate 6,500 over the next 30 years being back pain free, this shit is peanuts. And that's exactly how you can frame this, but you can only do this when it's framed in a transformation perspective. And that's why clients want a program. They want a program because they want to be invested in the transformation process. They want something that is long-term, sustainable, that they're going to learn all of the tools and the process. So at the end, they're going to be able to keep the results. They don't want random sessions. They don't want billable hours. They don't want add-on services. They want everything together. So my advice to you is through this process, look towards where you're still billing hourly, look towards where you're still in the session process, or maybe very, very short-term clunky programs where you're adding in different things, and start combining things. Combine the process, set it for the price that you know you deserve and the price that you can get. And that's how you're going to get more invested people through this whole process. So in my opinion, a transformation program, it really increases your value, your retention, and your revenue, no matter what field you're in. So if you do not have a transformation process yet, 100% start on this and go through it. I have been doing this for probably like the past, I'd say 7 businesses that we've been working with. Like the last 7 has just all been about converting them into a transformation process. And it significantly increased their sales. It's increased the pre-qualification, which is surprising, but like, if you're just on the phone with someone and you're like, yeah, well, our PT sessions are between this price and this price, everyone is going to price shop. Versus like, hey, this actually isn't personal training. We have a transformation program. Then it's something that they can't even compare it to. So it's like it increases sales, increases the amount of people who you get through pre-qualification. Retention goes up higher because you're committing people to longer programs. It's a win on everyone. And honestly, it's going to be something that actually fires you up instead of doing the same thing over and over again. And this is where, like, when you look towards transitioning from practitioner for the person doing the session to CEO, you're going to get to a place where if you intend to be the practitioner inside of your business, it's going to get boring for you repeating the same process over and over again. Imagine being that personal trainer who all you do is go back to back in sessions. You don't help them with accountability. You don't talk about nutrition. You're just a glorified rep counter. Or the chiropractor who's like, you're just doing adjustments where you've got 6 bays. You go from bay 1 to bay 6, and then you go back to the beginning and do the next 6 people. It's very boring. It's not exciting for you. You're not using your skills, and you really can't charge for that. And that's the thing now. People don't want generic service where they feel like it's a rinse and repeat. Like I can't tell you how many times I go into like what I call those like churn and burn clinics where they're seeing 15 people in an hour. Each hour, they're going to get in 6 people at 10 minutes each. And the person goes, I don't know, I paid $75. The practitioner saw me for 15 minutes. I didn't get a good experience. I don't feel like the value is there. It's really hard. So if you're going to start to be the practitioner long-term in your business, or you're going to hire someone to be the practitioner long-term, make it exciting by making it a transformation. It's going to fire you up to deliver to someone a more exciting result. Plus, you're going to make more money through the process too. So that's all I have to say about this episode. One reminder as well, too, as the end of November comes up, we still have 2 spots open for the Coach to Coach program. Coach to Coach, just so you guys know, is a 6 to 10 month container where me and my team work work inside of your business with you to help grow your sales, help increase your recurring revenue. And we do that by client converting content. We, of course, adjust all of your service offerings. We look at your SOPs. We look towards your sales mastery, and then we help you fast launch more programs. That is just the start of the process of you being able to build a business that makes consistent revenue, keeps clients for longer, and reduces the amount of people who fall off the program or who end up exiting your world. This process is not for everyone. So when I say me and my team come in, we help you with everything. Like creating the standard operating procedures. If you need someone to hire, we have a recruiter that it's like, hey, look, we will connect you to the recruiter. It's making sure that through the process, like we meet multiple times a week. So that way you have the implementation, you know exactly what you're giving your admin, you know what you're working on. I basically step in almost like a kind of like assistant CFO to make sure that these things get implemented properly and it's very clear to you. Because one of the things that I found working with business coaches in the past is a lot of people will hop on calls and they'll say, hey, here's what you got to do next, or well, that sounds like a really good idea. And what it actually is more mentoring than it is the coaching. And I will say the majority of the practitioners and pros we work with, they know all of the how. They know how to create a landing page. They know how to create an SOP. They've hired people before. They know exactly what they're looking for. So it's not necessarily that they need tools. But what happens is they're at this place where revenue's kind of been stagnant. They've hit a ceiling and they're saying to themselves, I have a million tools. I don't know what I should implement in this moment. I want to work towards the strategy. I want to make sure that we can do this very quickly. And I want it to be something that's sustainable. I don't want to just continuously throw ads out there and waste my money or do random marketing plays that are going to be super hit and miss. I want to have a strategy. I want to know what I'm doing 90 days or 120 days from now, not this month and next month. And that's the difference. And that's where having a person that's going to step in and kind of be like an assistant CFO is going to be very valuable. So me and my team really step into your business, and it doesn't matter what type of practice you have. We brought on a training facility that has close to 30,000 square feet. We work with chiropractors, naturopaths, we work with physiotherapists, regardless of what type of health business, it all operates the same way. You have a client that has an emotional buy-in to whatever their pain point is. You can package the pricing in the process to make it something that they can stick with long term. We incentivize coaches, whether it's you or whether it's the practitioner you brought on, to retain the people where they're actually going to get fired up, whether it's through retention bonuses or other initiatives that we have to make sure that you're keeping your recurring revenue. That's basically, I would say, the gist of how we operate. But we're taking on 2 more practitioners for November. As November and December kind of go into coach to coach is actually going to be capping spots. I'm probably going to take maybe another 2 more people for December because everything we do is very intensive inside of the business. I do physical facility walkthroughs, like we are present. It's not just a fully online thing, depending, of course, where you are in the country and stuff. Because we're pretty intensive with the stuff that we do, it's like I don't take on like 155 coaches or businesses. I really work with a couple of people to make sure it's like they're 100% all in and I can be 100% in their business. So that and like through the holidays as well too. I don't know if you guys are in this unique place, but like I'm so fortunate that I've been able to kind of design the business and the team where I can step out and be like, effectively coaching 15 or 20 hours a week and everything runs very smooth and it runs without me. And it's interesting because in building my business to be able to do this, it has really allowed me to like I can take time off over the holidays. I can spend time with my new baby boy who in filming this is 3 weeks old already, which is like, holy crap, it's so big. But yeah, like just being able to hang out with my son Dominus, I think is going to be really, really huge for us. And I want to make sure that over the holidays, as we experience like his first Christmas and we have my family over, we're doing some hosting for some holiday events as well too, that I can be fully present. So we're not taking on a million people leading into this year. It's going to be 2 more spots for November. And then we'll see in terms of schedule. I'm probably going to take another 2 people for December. And then that's it. Like we're close. And then we will see you in the new year. So don't miss the opportunity now. And of course, if you join before the end of November, so this is like literally end of November is in 2 days, which is wild. You actually get access to the fast launch program, client converting content, and no BS sales as a part of joining C2C. So in getting those, you'll learn how to be able to create content that actually converts high ticket clients and helps pre-qualify leads ahead of time. No BS sales where we will teach you the prescriptive method so that way you can just prescribe your offers and instead of having to have this huge complicated consult process. And then fast launch where you're going to be able to learn how to launch self-paced courses, individual master classes, or transformation programs in the span of a 45 to 60-day window, from like email sequences, landing pages to full launch, and having them filled after that launch. All three of those things are the key pillars needed for you to launch new programs, create content on the go, and just continue to build your business. So don't miss the opportunity to hop into C2C. Otherwise, thanks guys for listening and watching to this episode, and we will see you on the next one. Bye for now.